Welcome to Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name's Chris Meyer, and I'm here with Haley Westrich. Haley, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing great.
Good?
Yep.
Good.
Today is Johnny Cash Day.
I know. You got your black on.
It's the Man in Black Day, although I'm not the Man in Black, but I am wearing black. You're wearing black. Cliff will be wearing black.
Yeah.
And Cliff is our guest.
Yes,
I announced it a little early.
Quartet.
Yeah. So Cliff Wright will be our guest here in just a little bit. And so we have today some Johnny Cash trivia. And so here we go.
Okay.
How many number one hits did Johnny Cash have?
Ooh, he probably had at least 10.
At least 10. He had 13 number one hits. What song written by June Carter Cash are these lyrics from? The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet.
Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire, that's
song.
right. How many siblings did Johnny Cash have?
Oh, I don't know.
He
3?
had 6.
6.
That is a lot.
That is.
What branch of the military did he serve in?
I don't know.
The Air Force. What was his real name?
Oh, I didn't
know this.
No.
It's J.R., comprised between John and Ray. So I never knew that.
I didn't either.
Here is another fun fact. He met his wife, June, backstage after his first time performing at the Grand Ole Opry. And her family, I guess, performed there as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So another fun fact is he won 13 Grammys out of 35 nominations. And so, Johnny at one point was going to have a theater named after him here in Branson.
Really?
It was called Cash Country, I think is what it was. And the guy that built it, I think, couldn't finish it or something happened. But I think Johnny went on to perform some here in Branson. But very influential in the he kind of reminds me a lot of Elvis because a lot of people are still listening to him. He's still popular.
Of course.
After he's passed away several years ago. So anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm just excited to hear his story. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Million Dollar Quartet. We'll talk about his history. We'll do all that in just a moment. So stay tuned on Play Branson.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. And today we are with Cliff Wright with the Million Dollar Quartet. Cliff, welcome. It's good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
So tell people, before we talk about the Million Dollar Quartet, kind of tell people about your history, really, and how you got in the entertainment business. And because I know there's a long history there.
Well, actually, I've been playing the guitar since I was 8 years old. I think the first thing I ever heard was probably... Well, my dad loved Hank Williams, but the first thing I ever really heard was Elvis. Mm-hmm. And so I grow up, I'm a teenager, and I'm really getting more into playing lead guitar. And so as I get older, I start playing guitar with some Elvis tribute bands and knowing that I already know the material and stuff. And then so I'm just like, you know what, I can do that. I can sing that stuff. So I start singing Elvis and doing it in competitions and stuff. And then I auditioned for Million Dollar Quartet, probably about 6 years ago, and I auditioned for their show twice for the tour, and I got cut every time. And then my manager called me one day, or my agent, I should say. He called me and he's like, okay, I need you to send me a video of you doing Johnny Cash. And I'm like, okay, what for? And he's like, well, it's for this Million Dollar Quartet thing. And I was like, no, not doing it. I refuse to do it. I got cut twice. And so finally he talked to me about it. So that night I was up to about 6 a.m. making a promo video to send to Welk Theater here because I heard they were casting. And so I sent it and I was like, okay, done with that. So I'll go ahead and start booking some more Elvis gigs. I'm like, I'm never going to hear anything from that video. So little did I know that a couple of days he sent me an email. I was like, here's the contract, you're hired. So I'm like, uh-oh. So I had to turn around and cancel like 18 Elvis dates to do this thing. But I mean, this is more of a long-term thing, This is my 4th year here.
So let's go back a little bit. And I want to talk a little bit about, you were in a band that did Elvis tribute. And so where were you based out of, and where did you travel? too, or?
Well, I was based out of Athens, Alabama, which my family's still there, and this band that I started playing with is actually out of Chicago, and they play all the big Elvis festivals across the United States. I think my first gig with them was in Lake George, New York, which was like a 4-day run, and so I left there, went to Chicago, been to California, been to Vegas. I mean, I just went all over the place with them, and I started with them probably back in 2007 or 2008.
And how old were you at that time?
Do I have to say? No.
Well, you can tell me kind of.
I was 29 years old.
Okay.
And so started doing that, and then I got the call to come here, and I'd always been influenced by Johnny Cash. I mean, how could you not be? I mean, there was just so many cool things about him, and it's totally different from Elvis. There's no comparison between the two acts, and plus I'm a vintage recording studio nut, basically. I mean, I love the old technology. I love being able to recreate what they recreated back then, and I kind of try to bring that to the show, and I grew up, good family and a Christian home, and everything just kind of happened.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite Johnny Cash song? And what's your favorite Elvis song?
My favorite Elvis song would probably, oh God, that one changes day by day, would probably be You'll Never Walk Alone, a gospel thing. But my favorite Johnny Cash song is by far going to be Walk the Line. That's
so good.
That's the best one to me.
So yeah. I saw some notes here that says you're completely self-taught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a guitar lesson when I was about 10 years old, and my dad played guitar, so he started showing me stuff whenever I was 7 or 8 years old. I don't know the exact year, and so they put me in a guitar lesson, and I went there, and so he's like, okay, do this, da 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 da, and I'm already doing like triple what he said. He's like, okay. He's like, this lesson was free. He's like, you already know everything that I'm going to be able to teach you, and that was the last one.
And so, how did you learn? I mean, was it just by ear, or I
learned to be able to mimic the sounds that I hear. I can mimic vocal tone like Johnny Cash. I can mimic the Elvis stuff, and then guitar, it's a lot easier because you just find the notes that they're playing, and then you find the way to bring those notes into play in the chords, learn how to stay in your keys whenever you're playing them.
Yeah. I just think that's fascinating because I took lessons on guitar for years, and even trying to read music, and I so appreciate when people just have the natural talent that you do. So what did you, I know you said in the late 20s you were were you doing stuff still in your early 20s, or what were you doing at that point?
Yeah, I was mostly playing in rock and roll bands and playing clubs and things like that, and I mean playing everything from Hank Williams to Stevie Ray Vaughan, basically playing lead guitar with a lot of things. We did a lot of little dances and stuff, like in Alabama they would have social halls where every Saturday night everybody's going to go out and dance, so I need a guitar player, and I did that for the longest.
Okay. So you kept trying to get on Million Dollar Quartet, and you kept getting cut. And so what was it about Million Dollar Quartet that said, I'm going to keep trying to be part of that show?
It was just, I think the biggest thing was I knew that I could pull off the Johnny Cash role. I actually auditioned for Johnny Cash and Elvis, but I was more primary to the Johnny Cash thing. And I just knew that I could pull off that story. I knew that I could reenact, his life and make it accurate and authentic.
Okay. One of the things is if you have done Elvis competitions, and so my notes here say you just won one.
Yeah, I was in Sioux City, Iowa back in January, which was during our off season for Million Dollar Quartet, and I went into that competition, and I got in there and won, and now I'm qualified for the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist Competition at Graceland in Memphis coming up this August.
And so they're going to let you off work to go?
Yeah, they're going to let me go this year. Might not next year, but
if they weren't, I was going to have a talk with them, because they need to let you go, because that's a pretty big deal.
It is. First place, I think, is $20,000. Not to mention, you become almost like you can put Elvis Presley Enterprises on your stuff because you're recognized as the number one for that year.
Yes.
So they'll do little things with you and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think I maybe told this story in the past. I don't remember, but I actually have a picture of Elvis, and I am in the background, and he is getting in his car, and he actually was in Harrison, Arkansas, just south of here, back in the 70s, and my parents had a hotel down there, and so he stayed there for about a week. And so I used to have the fork he ate off of, and I gave it to the neighbor kid, and you know,
wow.
that kind of crazy stuff. You know, it's one of those things you wish you knew now what you
didn't know then.
Yes,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And so, but I do have a picture, and I'm in the picture with Elvis, you know, getting in his car, which is pretty cool, you know. So that's pretty fun. We'll be back in just a moment to talk more about Million Dollar Quartet, and with Cliff Wright, we'll be back.
One jam session, 21 massive hit songs, an electrifying true story. Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Elvis Presley. Million Dollar Quartet, based on the Tony Award-winning musical, now playing at the Welk Resort Theater in Branson. Be inspired by a phenomenal true story and travel back to December 4th, 1956, when the father of rock and roll, Sam Phillips, brought together four legends for a once-in-a-lifetime performance. Million Dollar Quartet brings the greatest rock jam session of all time to life, featuring a score of rock hits like Blue Suede Shoes, Great Balls of Fire, Walk the Line, Hound Dog, and more. See what fans are raving about. Call 417-337-SHOW or go to mdqbranson.com. Million Dollar Quartet at the Welk Resort Theater.
Welcome back to Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better, and we're here with Cliff Wright.
So, Cliff, we were just talking on break about some artwork that you have. So tell us about that.
Well, I have a piece that some friends of mine were in Las Vegas, and they actually found this piece in a memorabilia store. And I mean, everything looked real and stuff on it, and which they authenticated it. So I figured, okay, it might be worth $4,000 or $5,000 or something like that. So I get it and I bring it home, and then one day I'm just like, okay, I think I want to get this authenticated again just to make sure everything is the value on it. But what the actual artwork is it's a piece of sheet music, which I tracked back. The sheet music issue date was January 1st, 1956 of America the Beautiful. And on that sheet music is a picture or is an autograph of Elvis Presley. It says Elvis Presley to Joyce. And then it's Sam Phillips it also says Elvis Presley to Joyce, with love, 1956. And then Sam Phillips signed it and just put 56. And then Johnny Cash signed it, Carl Perkins signed it, and it turned out to be really, really cool. As far as I know, it's the only piece that actually has all of their signatures on it with the same ballpoint pen. And especially because the only time they were together was December 4th, 1956, which is what we recreated. So it was just like, okay, I think that was made to be with me now.
Right.
You know?
So if people have never heard of Million Dollar Quartet, kind of tell people what it's all about, because this piece of art was part of that history.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually what it was is it started out as it was a recording session for Carl Perkins. And Jerry Lee had just came to Sun Records. And so Sam talked Carl Perkins into bringing him in to play piano on his song Matchbox, I believe. And so Elvis Presley at this time had already left Sun. He left in January, and this is December 4th. And so Johnny Cash and Carl was still on there, and Jerry Lee had yet to cut his first hit record. And so with Jerry Lee and Carl Perkins there, Sam Phillips had the idea to call Elvis, because Elvis had already talked to him, told him he was going to be in town, and invited him over. And so Sam Phillips calls Johnny Cash and has him come over. So, and they all come together, and you can hear the original audio where they're just singing spiritual songs and all the songs that they kind of grew up with. But what they didn't know was the fact that Sam Phillips had all the mics turned on, and he was recording the entire thing. And so he couldn't release that at the time because Elvis was already on RCA. He would have gotten sued. So after Elvis died in 1977, he released it like a year later. So basically what it was just a big jam session, and we do a lot of the songs from that. We also include a lot of the storylines, you know, how Johnny Cash came to Sun, and also how Johnny Cash is getting ready to leave Sun and go to Capitol Records, or Columbia, I'm sorry. He goes to Columbia, and Carl Perkins is going to go to Columbia as well. And basically we all come together and doing all these songs, and there's a lot of really, really cool artifacts, and it touches on how Elvis came in and they discovered That's Art Mama. I mean, it's just, you go through four icons' career all in that hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, and so it's based on a true story. you have the document, the piece of art that talks about that. And so it's a way for people to kind of relive really American history. And I mean, these guys all have influenced people by the millions.
And still are.
Yeah. And because Elvis and Johnny definitely are very probably the top, and Jerry's still alive.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing that hurt Carl was he got in a car wreck because he wrote Blue Suede Shoes. And you'll notice throughout the show that Carl Perkins is always a little aggravated at Elvis. You know, the true story behind that was, and which we touch on as well in the show, is Carl Perkins is on his way to New York to sing the song on the Perry Como's television show. And he gets in that bad car wreck. So RCA had already tried to get Elvis to record his song Blue Suede Shoes, and he said, no, I'm not going to do it. He's like, you know, Carl's got the big hit out on it. He's like, I don't want to mess with my friend's song. You know, but after he realized that he was in the hospital, which means he can't do road shows, he can't pay bills, so then Elvis recorded the song and made him millions of dollars. Every time that song was recorded on an album, he made the same money. And Elvis, Carl made the money. Well, Elvis is going to make money because he's Elvis, you know. But he also added the song into a movie, GI Blues. You can see Elvis actually performing the song again. So every time he recorded it, it took care of Carl Perkins. But Carl Perkins didn't know that until after Elvis had done died.
Wow, that's a really interesting story there. So I've seen the show I think maybe 3 times now, and it's just it's a fun show, but it's unique and different than most Branson shows because you kind of do include the acting plus the songs as well, and so that's different.
Yeah, we definitely tell the story around the songs. I mean, the show is basically centered around Sam Phillips with all these icons. You know, you see Sam Phillips, you get a lot of history about what he's going through before he signs these artists, where they're threatening to close down the studio because he's getting sued because he's borrowing too much from one song to the other. And then Elvis comes in, and then a big light comes on. And then Sam is so far behind in his bills, he literally has to sell Elvis, and that's what kept Sun Records going, which they opened up in 1950 and closed in 1960.
Yeah, and somehow Sam Phillips was involved with Holiday Inn Express, and that's probably a story for another day, but I do know there's some connection there, whether he was
the
an
money he
investor
got
or
from
something.
Elvis went over to that, and he also bought a radio station, which became and hired the very first female DJ.
Wow. So you've got the Elvis competition coming up in August, but so that'll be around the corner. And then as far as Million Dollar Quartet, like tell people where you're at, what are the dates, when can they find that show?
Okay, well, we're actually over at the Lawrence Welk Theater, and we're there right now. We're doing shows Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I think throughout the year there will be a couple more shows added here and there, but we're doing roughly 4 to 5 shows a week. And, you know, it's an amazing show. I mean, I've never seen someone come and watch the show and be disappointed. I mean, it's one of those shows that you can watch multiple times because you're always going to miss something. You know, it starts out with, you know, I come out and doing Folsom Prison and stuff like that. We all start out with Blue Suede Shoes, and at the end of the night, there's always no one in the seats because they're up dancing to Jerry Lee's big hit record, you know, Whole Lot of Shakin'.
A lot of shaking going on.
It's just one of the coolest things.
And that's 8 o'clock. Is that 8 o'clock? Or?
We start at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay. So, folks, 8 o'clock out at the Welk Resort, the Welk Theater. That's out 165, close to the Table Rock Dam, somewhere in that area. So be sure to check that out. And you sound like Johnny Cash.
I try hard.
Yeah. And you play guitar, right?
Yes,
as
sir.
Well. And so that's all live. The band's all live.
Yeah, there's no tracks in any of it. I actually understudy Carl Perkins. So if Carl gets sick, then I have an understudy, and I actually go in and play Carl Perkins.
There you go. So you can sound like lots of different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep me off the piano, though. I ain't the best.
You're not going to do Jerry Lee, huh? No. And folks, if you need tickets to Million Dollar Quartet, be sure to go to the folks at ibranson.com. They can help plan your entire Branson vacation, or you can call them at 1-877-ENTERTAIN. And this has been a great time to get to know Cliff Wright from the Million Dollar Quartet. And so stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
The award-winning Quality Inn West. It's the closest hotel in Branson to Silver Dollar City and near Branson's IMAX complex. Relax in the indoor pool or hot tub. The hotel offers relaxing queen rooms and 2-room suites. Enjoy each morning's free hot breakfast inside or out on the patio. For more information or to make reservations, call 800-443-8694.
Hey folks, we are on location today and we are at Ride the Ducks, one of the many unique attractions here in Branson, Missouri. And Ride the Ducks is all about World War II amphibious vehicles that they have converted so people can ride on them. And they do an hour-and-a-half tour here in the Branson area. You go on top of a bared mountain so you can see forever. You splash down in Table Rock Lake. You get a lot of the history of the Ozarks. A lot of people also don't realize that Ride the Ducks has an incredibly huge gift shop. And if you'll notice right next to me here, we've got some amazing taffy. And there are barrels and barrels of taffy here. So if you like taffy, great place to come. Ride the Ducks is located on West Highway 76, just past Price Chopper and Walmart. It's been here for 41 years. It's a family tradition. If you've never been to Ride the Ducks, come check it out. You're going to have a great time on the Ride the Ducks experience. So folks, we are standing right here at Ride the Ducks. You can see this duck behind me. We call this the psychedelic duck. It's got an awesome paint job on it. These ducks actually will hold about 32 people. Really don't go very fast. They weren't designed to go fast. But it's a fun experience, something that you're not going to get in your hometown. And you know, when you're out getting ready to go in the lake, they do a big huge splashdown, and so the water's going up on the sides. You probably won't get that wet. They used to, I'm guessing they still do. They'll let kids a lot of times drive the ducks in the little lake, and that's a lot of fun, especially on a hot summer day. And so, you know, what a neat experience you can have here. You can see all of it. It's very safe. There's life jackets above all of the seats, Coast Guard approved. And so once again, if you haven't checked out Ride the Ducks here in Branson, you need to come check it out. You just saw us out at the Ride the Ducks, and that's another fun attraction here in Branson.
Very fun.
And so, you know, you get some history, you get to see some of the scenic Ozark Mountains, you get to go in the lake. So a lot of fun. If you haven't done Ride the Ducks, you need to do that. Coming up, we have Mother's Day weekend.
Yes.
So if you haven't bought your mother something, please go do that. We have a lot of great places in Branson where you can shop, or better yet, bring your mother here. There's a lot of great, what's the word I'm looking for? Brunches.
Yes.
Lots of great brunches out in the Branson area to go to. Right now, we've also got bluegrass and barbecue going on out at Silver Dollar City. And then we have somebody on Mother's Day at Dick Clark's American Bandstand Theater.
Yes, we got Billy Craddock.
I don't really know who that is.
I haven't really heard of him either. But
so, if you know who he is, go see him. If you don't, check him out.
Yeah.
Our next show, we have some of the hottest up-and-coming guys in town. They're doing some phenomenal stuff. We have Prince Ivan. So we have Bryden Brett and Aaron Ellsworth. I about didn't get that. And they are doing some phenomenal things with this band they have called Prince Ivan, and I think they're going to go far. So be sure to watch our episode next Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, if you have any comments, any artist you want to see, be sure to go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Play Branson. Let us know what you think, who we can get on the show for you. We'd love your feedback. And be sure to like us, share us. Let's help spread the word about Branson entertainers here in Branson, Missouri. And if you're planning your entire vacation, be sure to go to ibranson.com or call 1-877-ENTERTAIN. This has been another episode of Play Branson. We'll see you next Thursday.
Try something different this vacation. Bring the whole family to Branson Segway. Segways are the most fun on two wheels since the bicycle. It's safe and fun. Ride at your own pace on our specially designed track. You can do it.
I don't know if I can do this, guys. I don't know.
To get your family from ho-hum to adventure, ride a Segway. Branson Segway and Adventure Center on Highway 165, just 1 block south of Titanic.
Come on, slowpokes. Ride like the wind.